We wanted to find out a little bit more about Agria Equine Insurance because they have come on board with the Eventing podcast. They have a brilliant message to share, and I'm delighted to say Vicky Wentworth, Chief Executive of Agria UK, is with me. Vicky, Agria feels like it has come from pretty much nowhere. I mean, it has been, 18 months? And actually now we are so used to having you in the equestrian world. Are you a new company or have I missed something?
Oh, that's a super good question. New doing equine in the UK, yes.
Okay.
But actually, Agria is actually the largest pet insurer in Europe. We're owned by a Swedish head office. And we've been around for over 130 years. And actually, the first animal we insured in 1890 was a horse. So actually, we have seriously been around for a long time insuring horses, just not so long in the UK.
Feels like it's come full circle. Welcome to the next episode in our Horse of a Lifetime series. Now, listeners, where will today's show take us? Because we have got one of the most popular event riders on the circuit. Ben Hobday is with us. Ben, it is brilliant to have you back on the Eventing podcast. Can you tell us who is your horse? I'm hoping, I'm not going to lie, listeners, I'm hoping he's going to say the horse that I think he's going to say.
Well, thank you very much for having me. I appreciate that. I think you asked me to go on this show. I had a good think about it. And there's one horse in particular that, for me, from a career point of view, is number one. But the one that really steals my heart and really dug deep for me when I needed him personally was Mr. Mulrys Error. The V8 Supercob is the horse that really was aware of the occasion and stepped up when I really needed him to. So he's a very important horse in my life and many others who had the pleasure of being involved with him.
He was like the people's champion, I feel. That is the horse that I was hoping you were going to say, I'm not going to lie, because he wasn't and isn't a stereotypical top-level 5-star event horse, but he absolutely made up for it in so much character and heart and everything else. I should also say, and I always feel quite bad, people that are still very much in the midst of their careers, horse of a lifetime could well change in the future. You know, we can have this conversation in 10, 15 years time and there's so many great horses along the way. But Mulrys Error, the V8 Supercob, give us an insight into actually his background, because as we say, wasn't traditionally bred to be an event horse.
No, not at all. And it's quite an emotional story when me and Sally sit down and sort of reminisce about it, because Sally Ryle, his owner, lovely lady, supported me for a long time. The way we met was she came for lessons, and her and her daughter, Vanessa, Vinnie Ryle, who now presents on Sky Sports, came for lessons, and once every 2 weeks or so, you know, lovely girls, you know, great attitude to training, having a laugh but learning. Sally had bought the horse off some friends of hers in Yorkshire who got him from Ireland, from Ballina Fair. And I believe, again, don't quote me on this, he was about £1,500, pounds, a guy called Mark Mulry, and that's where his name came from.
Okay.
And Sally's very, very passionate about this horse as much as I am, obviously. And anyway, so here we are training each week and having a great time. Once we'd finish our lesson, Sally always bring a couple of Budweisers with us, and we'd have a cheeky beer, which, you know, it was a real nice touch from my point of view. Have a nice hour teaching the girls and then a cheeky beer with her. And I always admired his athleticism and his jump for a big horse. And I think looking back now, you know, as a younger lad, I just wanted every opportunity I could have. You know, it wasn't about doing anything more than trying to win and trying to get to the top as best I could. And I always asked her, could I have a go? And she never let me. And I think she knew what was coming if she did let me. And I'm smiling now thinking about it. She basically said to me, some of my friends run a horse show in Ireland called Tattersalls, and she's going to go over and do the 1-star, which is now the 2-star equivalent. And can we help work towards that? I said, of course we can. I'm going there myself. We can make a trip of it, and we can get our canter working together, do the work behind the scenes, and you can have a good time in Ireland. And that was the plan. And Sally's friends who are based in Ireland, who run the show, are fantastic people. And the week before the show, I'm sure it was a week, Sally got nervous, rung me up, and she was like, "I've been thinking about it, Ben. I think I'll enjoy myself if I watch you do it and maybe have some champagne with the girls. And I think I'm going to be nervous enough." And my eyes really did light up, because not from at that point I didn't think, wow, this is going to get here or I'll do this. I just thought, I love the horse's attitude. I love the way he jumps, and he looks a lot of fun. Little did I know, she dropped him off about 3 or 4 days before we were setting off. And I remember getting to Tattersalls, and this horse, the cob, if you will, the big guy, he was electric. He was like a thoroughbred, that had been eating oats for the last month. He was literally wild. He was pulling wheelies in the dressage warm up, booking. It took me about 2.5 hours to 3 hours to get him on the bit the first day. And I was like, oh God, I've asked for this, and now it's going to be a bit embarrassing if I'm not careful. So I spent the few days when we got there, before the trot up and before the dressage, really working him hard. And, one thing you got to give the horse credit for, he's got a fantastic engine. Anyway, we managed to get the best test out of him we could. I think you'll have to check this, but I think he got like a 32, which for a horse of his stamp at the time was a very good mark. And again, we're just going for having a bit of fun, and off we go on cross country. And I'm very aware that he's a big lad, thinking, how will he cope? So I started off in a big rhythm, shall we say. And thank God you can't get time faults for going too fast at internationals, because I came back 35 seconds inside the time, and Mark Mulry, the guy that bred him, was there, a real nice fella. He came over crying. This is a grown man, big strong man as well. So proud of the horse that he bred. And he's going, well, Ben, this will be the best horse you ever have. I tell you now, Ben, this horse will be a Badminton one day. And, we're all laughing, ecstatic with the day we had, but never believed in a million years that would happen. And, he jumped clear the next day. And one moment, what really stuck out for Sally at that show, which really meant a lot to her, and it meant a lot to me at the time as well, was William Fox Pitt came up to Sally and really congratulated her on how well the horse went and on my riding, and it really meant a lot for someone of his stature to take note of someone who had gone there on a cob for a bit of fun. So that was the first moment when I kind of realised he's a bit of kit, this horse. He is a bit of kit, and the sky's the limit, maybe, because the one thing about me, you tell me I can't do it, I will have a go. And a lot of my friends that ride, and they made a couple of little digs, and that is literally just tipping petrol on my fire. And I remember when we went to Belton, the girl in particular said something, and he flew around that course, and we went from one step to the next. Sally being a Yorkshire lady from Ilkley, Bramham's always been a very big show for her, and going watching as a fan. Anyway, we went to the next step. I think we did a 2-star at Weston Park, and it went very well. He was very strong there, I remember, very, very strong. I couldn't really stop him, which was, I was trying not to let Sally know too much about that in case she put the brakes on me competing him. But I basically said, let's go to Bramham. And she was like, oh God, that's a big step up. I said, look, Sal, you love the horse, I love the horse. If he's tired, I'll just pull up, we'll wave to the crowd, we'll hack home, we'll have had a great day. And she was like, yeah, that sounds good. And Bramham went lovely, it went great, we had a great time. And I think Sally, in Sally's head and Binny's head, that was Mulry's eventing career, peaked, done, dusted. And I remember Bramham's in the June. In July, I think it was, we went to Skipton Horse Trials, a lovely event in the Northwest. And she came to watch me ride my young horses. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to play this cool. I said to Sally, do you want to walk the course with me, Sal? She said, yeah. And I thought, I'll take a couple of Budweisers with us. It was about 11 o'clock, so I probably shouldn't have been having a beer at that time. But, I know it'd soften a little bit. So we're having a beer, we're reminiscing over Bramham and what an amazing time we've had and how lucky we are to ride such a super horse and be a part of it. And I just said, I've been thinking, Sal, but he's fit, he's ready, he's feeling good. The entry's for Burley close soon. What do you reckon we stick him in? And I think because she'd nearly finished the beer at the time, she kind of went, oh, well, whatever you think. And again, so we got him entered. And actually, from sort of statistics, you would say Burley's definitely not the course for a horse like that. And in my mind, I very much had the mentality to ride the horse, not the time, every time. I want to go fast, I want to do well, but first and foremost is this boy is being looked after because he looks after me. So Burley was on the cards. And again, we reiterated, me and Sally, we had many conversations, before the event, where we said, if he feels tired, if he's struggling, we'll just stop, we'll pull up, we'll give him a pat, job's a good one. Because for a big lad, he was a very good jumper. Loads of scope, careful. He had a lot in his favour, apart from the extra weight that he had to carry compared to some of the others. So we went to Burley, and I got to tell this story because it's like it was fate. It was like the gods were looking down on us. We started the course. We walked it when it's big. Every year it's big, isn't it? And all my mind is when's he going to hit that wall? It generally happens at about 8 minutes. Or Burley Badminton's 12 minutes. So we got 4 minutes of cantering with no lights on, basically. And I remember it was the year it was running, I don't know which way, up the hill. So you went to the dairy mound before you went to the Cotsmore Leap. So anyway, we jumped through the dairy mound, and I thanked her, even though she wanted it at the time. But bless her, a friend of mine, Ginny Rook, on a grey horse it were, she fell off at the log pile and broke her ankle.
Okay, very handy. You had a nice little breather.
She's my friend, and you won't wish that on anyone. But it really did help me out. So thank you very much for that. Because as we finished the dairy mound, the next jump was this big open ditch, which, if you've never been to Burley, you can drive a Range Rover through the ditch.
Yeah, and
it's still got plenty of spare space. So at this point, it was getting tired. Anyway, they pulled me up on course, and I'm thinking, wow, we made it this far. This is fun. And the horse is blowing a bit. It was there's about a 5 to 10 minute hold, and as you know, like, this can benefit you or it can hinder you depending on how the horse feels. And we got a bit of a crowd gathering due to his size, I suppose. And there must have been, I don't know, between 50 and 100 people just gathering around me, and we're having a chat. There's a couple of guys with the wives having drinking beers, having a bit of crap with me, and then the lady kindly said, "We're going to count you down in a minute." I said, "Lovely." I said, "Guys, you wouldn't do me a favour, would you?" So there's like all these people here. And I said, "This horse is tired, but I know he's got it in him. He needs to get his adrenaline going." I said, "She's going to count us down, as you can hear now. When we get to 20 seconds, I want you to start clapping and screaming as loud as you can, and you might just help me get around this course." So they start going. 10 seconds comes, 9 seconds, and the horse literally is pulling my arms out. Off we go. Anyway, we finished the course nice and clean, home safe and sound, and it just made me think, wow, that all happened when it should have happened. It was scary, but also credit to the horse. The actual obstacles, the jumps, he never ever had a problem with. The only thing that was always on our mind is if we've got petrol in the tank to keep it safe.
Just to put into context, listeners, if you're not familiar, so he is his dam is an unregistered Clydesdale,
big lass,
a big girl. And he ran alongside his dam until he was about 2 before he was taken to Ballinasloe Fair. And so I think his sire was a
Eve's Error. So he was, I think, a Group 1 winning racehorse. It was a thoroughbred horse.
Okay.
Apparently, as the story goes, he jumped out the field and liked a bit of cushion for the pushing. He liked the cobby mare in the corner. And anyways, that's the story. And even though he very much looks like the heavyweight champ of the world, he has got the bloodline in there that
he's got blood in there. He
gives him a bit of engine, yeah.
He's definitely the sort of the chunkier type on paper, and his feet, it would be fair to say, are quite legendary because they are literally enormous.
Yeah, he's got big dinner plate feet. I think someone must have tweeted me at the time, the fantastic dinner plates those. But he had big shoes made. Very good at hunting because the mud, he sort of, he's like a bit like a tractor. He can just plough through it, really.
Just went straight over the top. Looking back, we're going to talk about a few more of those special 5-star memories in a moment because I think they're important. But you've touched upon kind of the fitness and managing him to get to that point and always working within what you thought he had available to you. Did you change your fitness regime for him in terms of what you'd done with your other horses? And what did he teach you about actually, I guess, horses for courses and kind of making sure that he had all of the necessary tools in his toolbox to be able to take on what you were going to throw his way?
Yeah, I think when I look back, I think you've very much got to listen to the horse you're riding. And he's always been a trier, one that wants to please. And I knew that no matter how fit I got him, he was always going to hit that wall of pain, where it wasn't so much was he fit enough, because I wasn't going to leave no stone unturned, but it was the mental strength. Was he strong enough to feel that pain and keep going? And regarding his training, we did a lot of long distance canter work, where we wouldn't go as fast, but I'd want him to keep his heart rate going for longer and longer and longer, so he could, in essence, feel that pain and keep trying harder. And I think that was a big part in it. But also, I think he loved competing, and I do talk to him a little bit around the course. I don't know if that has any influence on them or not, but I certainly that day at Burley, he could feel what was happening, and he found it within him to go again. And there's been other moments like that when I look back now. It's only as I look back I realise that he was such an incredible horse for picking himself up and keep going when, Badminton, for instance, I nearly couldn't. So we all loved him so much. He very much knew that. I really strongly believe that, when I see him in the morning, even now in his pen with the young horses, the way he looks at us, he knows the crack, I know the crack. We've spent a lot of time training together, and, they're part of your family. So I believe, when you need them, they really step up for you. And he certainly did that. He certainly did it because everything was against him, physically and mentally. He pulled on through, and that's it's a credit to what an amazing animal that he actually is.
One of his most, I guess, memorable performances, and I think it's one that captured a lot of people's emotions, and there was so much support, was Badminton. I want to say it was 2016. Is that right? So you had been unwell and going through cancer treatment from sort of the back end of 2015. First of all, before we get to Badminton, how important for your mental health, recovery, hope for the future, everything, was he to you during the treatment and everything that was going on in your life outside of eventing at that stage?
It was certainly significant. Sally in particular, the situation was very unique, but Sally treated me like I was a rider, an athlete, before I was ill, basically. But the doctor said I shouldn't really ride for another year. I don't really listen to that, obviously, but physically I was very weak, and Sally didn't waver, and she really trusted my judgment, and I probably went into that a little bit blind. We got the horse fit. He was in great shape, but it really gave me something to work towards, to sort of reclaim who I was a little bit. And things like that, it happens to a lot of people, but it really does change you a little bit. And the way that Sally treated me was I'm very grateful to her, because she gave me the chance to be me, and I got to go to Badminton, and we didn't go thinking what would happen. We just went to do the best we could. And in my head, we're having it. We're going full pelt, and we're going to try and do what we can do. And it's only when I look back on it, I get goosebumps of the whole situation.
The build up to Badminton 2016, and when you'd been going through treatment and working with him, you obviously knew each other very, very well at this point. Did he change? Did he know? And did he do anything differently for you?
He's a very gentle horse, he's playful, he's got character, but I believe he knew. He certainly knew halfway around that course, when in the top water pond, he tripped and he lost a shoe. And there's a picture where he looks like he's underwater nearly. All his feet were on the ground, but his head went under a little bit. But he must have known then, because my plan then was, if something happened like that and he got tired, to go the long route of the Vicarage V to play it safe. And when I came down the hill, I just thought, I don't know what came up. I remember thinking it before the brush fence, and I'm doing this. And I remember as soon as I thought it, it's as if he thought the same. And I put my leg on, and I watched that jump. I've studied that jump before I jumped it, hours on end, watching different people ride it on different horses. And we'd done our homework. Everything I wanted to do, we did, stride for stride, 10 strides before. And when he got there, he was tired. He was missing a shoe. And if you watch the video back, he just went at it like a lion, without zero fear. And then he landed and moved away. And it's on reflection, it blows my mind. At the time, I didn't give myself that choice, and he didn't either. And just incredibly lucky. even after that fence, we jumped over a ditch, over a big ox sign, and give it 3 foot. This horse that was, any other day might give up. Other horses may give up because they were tired. It just isn't in him to give up, and I think that's why we're a good team, because I've got that mentality as well, and we're not. It's a very special week for me and the team, but also for people who possibly have been affected by the same kind of thing, because it's very difficult and also very rewarding. Like, I'm very fortunate to get a lot of support, a lot of messages, and that was lovely. The fact that it can help other people, maybe give them hope, push them to do things after bad things happen in your life. But also, it's very difficult to constantly hear, the big C word all the time. And I'm trying to forget about that. I'm trying to move on, but it's hard because it's always there. It's always in the back of your head. But, luckily I have a good team around me. Sally was amazing. My parents were amazing, and without doubt, that horse, that day, someone was looking over us all. It was very magical.
Were you very aware of just how much it had captured the emotion of the public? Because it felt like it gathered speed as the event went on. And actually, coming through the finish in the cross country was magic in itself. But then jumping clear in the stadium at Badminton to jump double clear.
Well, in the warm-up for the dressage, we had 30, 40 people stood watching me walk down the road on him, down, people following him, people screaming as we're going round, shouting Mulry, shouting, yeah, boy, shouting my name. It sounds ridiculous, but I think it gives hope to everyone who's not got the money, everyone who's got to start in the mud and work your way. He's living proof that it can be done. Living proof. And that round show jumping, I remember going in and I was 100% focused. I felt no fear. It was go in and do the job. And the horse just lit up. He had 7 down the year before. Like he was tired the year before and he knocked jumps down. No one talks about that. But that day, he found something within him. And that last fence, I remember coming off the last fence and the crowd just erupted. And like my mum's crying, Sally's crying. I'm just filled with the adrenaline. When I come off the cross country, I collapsed. And my body was so tired. So he must have known that. He gave me the power to do it, and credit to the horse. Absolute credit to him. It was I hope I get more moments like that, but to get one like that was very special.
How difficult was it after Badminton? Because there'd been sort of this build up and this goal and this target, and then it comes off, and actually that can be quite tough in a way, because kind of what you'd been working towards is done. Did it feel like that, or did it actually reinvigorate you? No,
I didn't see it like that at all. Never saw it like that. Like I said, if we would have pulled up at Badminton that day and he would have been fine because it was too much for him, I patted him, I would have still been elated. I still would have been proud of him. It wasn't that, he wasn't a horse that was going to win Badminton. He couldn't go as fast as everyone else. He couldn't do it. But a lot of horses in his position won't even get over fence 1. So everything was a bonus. So I certainly didn't think that when we finished. When we finished, I was very proud of him, very proud of my team, very proud of everyone. And, I'm always looking for the next thing as a person anyway. So, we had young horses coming through, Shadow Man as one. And, it's a funny thing to think about, because to people watching, it is amazing, and it is amazing without doubt. But to maybe to some professionals, they probably think, so what? You came, whatever you came, 20th or something, But so to me as a competitor, I want to win on the right horse on the day. So I always had something to work towards. But when I'm on him, you've still got to give him the respect he deserves. And like I said, if we had to ever walk away and give him a pat, as long as he tries hard, I'd be happy. And he always did. He always did.
What has he taught you? Not only from a horseman perspective, but actually from a life perspective, because it feels like his impact is so much bigger than just...
Massive. Just never give up. Like, don't listen to nobody who tells you can't do something. Like, I know it's very cliche, but literally, I'm a stubborn northern man, and if I put my mind to something, I will do it. And he's living proof that's the fact. Now, that doesn't mean you've got to take care. That's not, doesn't mean you're going to ride the same road as everyone else. But like the only person stopping you is you. And, you know, this is a sport filled full of money. We didn't come from that background. So we had to make it happen. We had to do different things, you know, teach, ride, sell to make things happen, like a lot of other people do. But you've just got to put your head to it, decide to do it, and don't stop till you do it. And I think the impression I get of people, possibly, I get this from people I teach, they're too scared of failing, like of getting it wrong, or like not going well. But like for every good moment we've had with that horse, we've had bad, like tough moments. At Blair Castle, we went and I fell off third to the last, you know, and this is where I'm trying to prove to the owner he's good enough to do it. And he fell because he was tired. And, you know, we picked ourselves up. We got 70 dressage there. It was embarrassing. But it wasn't embarrassing to me. It was embarrassing to other people. I just knew we had more work to do. We just had to keep going. And you keep pushing, you keep pushing, you keep pushing. You keep changing small things, then big things start to change. And he taught me that the most. And, you know, like I said, I can only compare it to when I've had a horse that potentially has had the mustard. Winning is easy then. Winning is easy because I know what losing's like. You know how difficult them tricky days are. And like I said, so when we were able to do the best we could with Mulry, you know, when we apply that to a horse that finds it easier to gallop, that finds it easier to move flashier in the dressage, and I think it's a sport that you can doubt yourself in a lot. And if you doubt yourself in, you're already losing. You've got to really have a vision to keep training, keep improving. But if you don't believe you can do it, then no one's gonna change that, are they? So I think he just gave me the will, the vision to, like, if you think you can do it, do it. And every step of the way he showed that. I think the first year we had him at intermediates alone, he won £2.5 grand, which, you know how bad the prize money is in this job.
There's some going, to be fair. There's some going.
You know what I mean? So it's not bad. You know, any jumpers out there, I think that's nothing. But eventing pays horrendous. You know, B needs a shake up in that department. But that horse did it. So it's very fond memories of him every time I look at him.
He's still a massive part of your life. You know, Sally, his owner, and Binny have been a huge part of the journey along the way, but he's at your yard now and kind of living the retirement of a king. What is he doing? And does he still know he's the V8 Supercob?
I think so. He looks after the young horses. He spent the summer in the field with 10 mares. We were based at John Whittaker's for a while, and he used to go in the field with 10 mares, and he, you know, trotted around like he was King Kong, and a man deserves that. It's just interesting, like, if maybe the younger generation or people from different sports that don't know him, which is absolutely fine, you know, they might go onto the yard and say, you know, what the hell's that one? And, you know, he's a horse that in his prime, he was 12 stone, lean, and now he's 22 stone, on the beers every day, kissing all the girls. So it's amazing people's reactions when they see him now. And he's happy as Larry, you know, his forelocks down to his lips nearly. So we have to plait his mane sometimes so he can see a bit better. But he's happy as Larry, and he'll go in the field in the summer. And some of the students who train with him, if we want to get a saddle on him, get him a bit fitter again, hack him down the road, you know, I'm sure he'll love that. But he's got the easy life now. He does what he wants to do when he wants to do it, and he certainly earned that.
I can only imagine the coat, the feathers, the feet. He is, I am sure, in his absolute finest moments. Ben, we kind of touched upon it at the start of the show. You know, he very much feels like he's been sort of the people's horse along the way, and it hasn't. Yes, he's not necessarily the most talented or kind of the most stereotypical event horse, but actually, what he's given you and kind of what he's brought to the table in character is so enormous. It's tangible. Were there any other horses that actually, when we started having this conversation about a horse of a lifetime, sprung to mind that perhaps in any other moment would have had an episode dedicated to them?
Yeah, for sure. You know, a horse that's really made me realise that I've got what it takes, and because he makes it easy. He's Shadow Man. I've had him for a very long time, and he's won a lot on the way up. It's a bit of a shame with COVID that slowed it down, a couple of personal problems at home that slowed us down. But you know, he's been second a lot in Nations Cups, 4 stars, he won a few Nations Cups. He's British Open champion. I think when he was a young horse, his first 17 runs, he won 13 out of 17 or something like that. He's a horse that I really admire his ability. I don't know how many event horses there are that do this, but he's jumped at 5-star and he's also jumped around 150s. A really, really talented horse. The Mulry, Shadowman, a lot of the horses like that, we spend so much time with them that they are part of the family, and it's important that they're treated with the respect that they deserve.
In terms of building those relationships and those partnerships with horses, for you, what are the non-negotiable foundations? We ask this question a lot on this show, and it's fascinating to get different insights from different riders that feel like they actually intertwine quite a lot. So what is it for you that actually makes that partnership with a horse so special?
Well, I think there's two answers to that question. I think the first one, which I think should apply more to young riders as well, first and foremost, is you've got to get on that horse and you've got to smile. If you don't like riding them, don't do it. Because there's too many people riding horses they're not that keen on, or they're not passionate about, thinking they're going to get somewhere. It's not going to happen. And equally, the other end of the spectrum is, they get on a horse and they absolutely love it, and then they don't ride it, or they don't buy it, or they don't want to do it because someone else has said something. I didn't listen to anyone when I chose to ride him. I trust my gut instinct, and if I didn't do that, it wouldn't have made me into what I'm doing today. And that's the one angle to look at it. The other angle is obviously they've got to be good enough. They've got to want to do it. But I look at it differently now. Now I'm further down the line. But again, Fidge is a great example. I've ridden plenty of talented horses that didn't have the right attitude. That horse, when I get on, we want to work. We want to work. He wants to work, and I want to work. And I think that's the same. I think you've got to enjoy riding. And there's a lot of horses that have been around Badminton, Bailey, championships that weren't someone's first choice, and then they go with another rider and they go phenomenal. And that's I love seeing that. It shows real horsemanship, real partnership, and I think that should be emphasised a bit more rather than buying ones that might win at pre-novice but nowhere else.
It's about finding, the same with people, I think, is the same with horses, is what makes them tick, and actually finding their key, because ultimately if you can work together, you're going to get on the pathway a hell of a lot quicker and stay on that successful kind of journey, even with all the bumps along the way. It's a massive part of it.
Yeah, definitely. Like eventing's a very difficult job because it's a lot of pressure on the horses' bodies to get fit, to be supple enough to do dressage, relaxed enough to do dressage, to be fit enough to gallop cross country, be careful enough to not, knock the cross country jumps, but be careful enough to not knock the show jumps, kind of thing. And it's a very unique horse that they need nowadays. And some horses don't have all of it, but especially for the young riders, that don't matter. If they've got enough to make you smile, then you keep going, and you just don't know where it'll take you. I think that's the thing. I think what could happen from you open that door and it might open another door down the line. And I still think I still have that approach really. With the young horses, it's sort of sometimes you just got to be a bit patient and see how they turn out before you write them off.
I love the two angles of this show very much, the underdog and the heart and the desire and the kind of the partnership and the will to win, or not even the will to win, the will to succeed, I think is the important part. But actually that smiling, because horses are such a privilege in our lives, and actually to enjoy it and to enjoy the journey and to enjoy the setbacks and to enjoy the process. Because
the best way to look at it is, especially if you're an amateur out there, you're going out, you're spending at least 150 quid on entering, and I know it costs X amount, but that needs changing if you ask me. Absolutely ridiculous. So you're going out there, you're putting all this pressure on yourself. Like I say this to some of the people who teach, who are you riding for? Yourself. So you're not going to ring someone up and tell them you've had a bad day. You're doing it for you. And if you can go out there and have a nice time, work on your riding, try and improve little bits, and have a good day out of the job, you're going to be smiling a lot more. Whereas I think a lot of people do put a lot of pressure on themselves, and even when you have a good result, then you're not happy because you want to go to the next level and the next level. And I think when you go back to the fundamentals of just working on your riding, your training, trying to be a little bit more with the horse, you can enjoy it a bit more. And get more out of the sport.
Enjoy it. Enjoy the process, listeners. There are so many snippets from this show. Ben, thank you for coming on the show. Thank you for giving us an insight into your horse of a lifetime, for being so honest. And I'm sure there will be plenty of people that have listened to this that will really appreciate the story and enjoy reliving it, because he really did capture, and you both captured, so many people's imagination, and achieved so much more than probably you guys ever dreamed of. So thank you very much.
No worries. Thanks for having us.
And
Shout out to Mulry.
Shout out to Mulry. We want a picture, by the way, of the wilds, like Mulry in the wilds with his women.
Okay, I can get one of them to you for sure. We put a video of him on the internet the other day, and that was lovely because it showed him in his penthouse suite, hairy with his girls, and then a little video of him going around Badminton. So I can dig one of them up and send that to you. But he's a happy chappy for sure.
That is what we like to hear. We'll look forward to it. Listeners, I hope you enjoyed that as much as we have. Ben, thank you very much. Big thank you to Agria for their support of the Horse of a Lifetime series. Who will be next? Watch this space. This podcast is supported by Agria, the company behind the UK's only lifetime equine insurance. Their mission is to raise the bar on horses' lifelong well-being, and they offer up to £10,000 of vet fee cover year after year for life. Their Horse of a Lifetime competition celebrates the horses who enrich our lives. To find out more, search for Agria Horse of a Lifetime, where you can enter your horse on the Agria website or catch up with Agria Equine on Instagram and Facebook.